Hey everyone, appreciate you joining. Today, super excited. We're going to take a slightly different approach to how I've done some of these classes before. So up until now, I've done kind of what's the best way to say it? Like functional um, or technical kind of things, right? It's like we do if-then statements, then we do conditional formatting, and then we do um, t- um, pivot tables, right? It's like so that's like we've kind of done that. So, but what we're doing today is we're doing ERP automation. So rather than focus on one specific function or one specific formula, we're focusing on a use case, which is automating ERP reports and determining how to like create this over time. Okay. So a couple of things in the chat. Feel free to download the file. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, happy to email you the file if you don't have it. Um, and then, if you have any questions, go ahead and put it in the chat. Love to answer the questions. And again, on YouTube, put a comment and we'll answer it. Like and subscribe, I guess. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do. Let's just look at what we have. So we have a purchase order report or an invoice report, right? So this is really helpful for like procurement teams. You got part numbers, descriptions, quantities, unit of measure. We got like the contract name, PO date, vendors, zip code, country, etc. Right? So cool. This is perfect. But what your boss wants is they want, let's see, need, right? Or let's say requirements. Okay. So these are the requirements. It needs to go spend for the last week, item/contract level detail, spend compared to previous weeks. Okay, so we want to show a few different things, and we want to show like we want to do a comparison to previous weeks, and we want to look at the current like contract level detail. Okay, so some of these things are not relevant. Okay, so and even like unit of measure, description, like this isn't relevant, right? Or only one could be relevant, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to choose columns. Okay, so this is a great formula. Choose columns, and the array is you're going to click this, and then you're going to click Control Shift to the right, or if you're on a Mac, Command Shift to the right, and then Command Shift down or Control Shift down if you're on a PC. And this is your whole thing. So choose columns, and I want to choose the specific columns I want. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top, get the headers, and let's see. I want part number and part description. That's fine. Column 1, 2, I'm going to ignore extended. I want quantity. I don't want the UM code, but I'm going to get the UM description, 6. And then I want 7, 8. I don't care about the master, but I'm going to care about the contract, 10, 11, 12. The PO date, that's important because that's our thing. And then 12, 13, 14. Okay, so then I'm going to do the vendor name. Okay, I don't care about the address. I don't care where they're coming from. All I care about is their name and the PO date. Okay, so just close parentheses and click enter. Okay, so I'm gonna hover over this again. So choose columns, all these things, and just so you can see what this does. If I do choose columns on these and just do column 1, I just get the part number, right? And if I do column 2, I just get the description. Column 4, just get the unit measures. The other thing you can do is you can do unique, right? And you can say, hey, what's the unique for that list, right? For choose columns. Now you don't have to, if it's just one column, you don't have to use the choose columns, but it's particularly helpful for knowing choosing the columns that you want, right? So the other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna change the format real quick to PO date. So now we have a list of our, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and this is, you can do command down or control down. you'll see that it ends at row 5291, just like our original one. Okay, so this is great. This is perfect. This is exactly what we want. We want to have this. Now, I will show you this real quick, and I'm going to undo it. But if I do choose columns, and I do all of these, and I just do column 1, I just do column 1 and 2, if you go all the way down to the bottom, it's populating in every single row. So do not do that. That's a particularly, it will make your file large. So I'm going to Control Z, right? That's not needed. And can cause your file to be unnecessarily large, okay? So the next thing I want to do is I want to look at just last week, okay? So last week only, okay? Any questions so far? We okay? Great. So I have this, and this is pretty good. Now, just so you guys know, this data is old, so I'm gonna first filter to 2022. Okay, so the formula you're gonna use, which I love, is equals filter. Okay, and this one's awesome. Okay, now the filter, you can do all the columns. You don't have to do the rows. Okay, you don't have to do the whole range. So you can do the whole columns, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna do an include. And that way you're going to filter out a bunch of stuff. Okay, so what you're going to include is you want PO date for a month, right? We're going to do 2022. Okay, so PO date here, column H, and we're going to do the greater than sign, and then you're going to do 1/1/2022, and we're going to do greater than or equal to, like that. So you're filtering A through I, where H is greater than 1/1/2022. Okay, click enter. Oh, that needs to be double quotes. That's not what I want. Let's double check. This is the date. Let's see. Let me make sure that yeah, come on. It should work. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 1/1/2022, and I'm going to convert this to a number. And then I'm going to do is greater than or equal to 44562. And that works. So we got 159 rows for 2022. Okay. Now, this is great. I also want to sort by the PO date. So I'm going to do a sort by, or I'm just going to do sort, and the sort index is just the column number. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Close parentheses and enter, and now you have this great thing. Okay, now it takes our headers down to the bottom. And I'm curious if there's sort order ascending by column, sort by column true. Let's see. No, ignore what I just did. So there's a couple things you could do. What I would recommend is just paste this up at the top, and then put this back. Sorry, sort 8, and then on your filter, yeah, that's fine. We're just going to pretend this doesn't exist, but that's okay. Okay, so this is pretty good. Now we have all of our purchase orders by date sorted in order. Okay, now it looks like we have some duplicates here. Don't worry about it. Just they're not duplicates, like they're legitimate. They're just, this is my fault, not the data's fault. So yours should look, yours will it might look different, or it might look the same, but it's just my problem. Okay, so this is good. Okay, so let's go back to the requirements, and we want spend for the last week, item contract level detail, and we want spend compared to previous weeks. Okay, so the last week we have here is 12/22. Okay, so we're going to do this week. Okay, we're going to do equal filter. Okay, we're going to do 2022. I want all of this, comma, where this, it needs to be H1, is greater than 12/1 2022. Yeah, let's work on that. Okay, so 12/1 2022, and then I want equals that plus 7. Okay, so I'm going to convert those. I'm not going to convert those numbers, but I am going to just go like that. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to get rid of that last row. So I'm going to do 159 because at this point I want to get rid of it. Okay, so 159, perfect. Excellent. So then this is, if you look at the PO date, this is everything after 12/1. Okay. And for now, let's just start there. Or actually, it would be good. And let's say your boss wants, yeah, just the week. That's fine, because then we have one record here. Okay. So in order to do 2 criteria, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to erase that close parentheses. You're going to open up your parentheses, okay, and close it again. And then you're going to do the multiplication sign and another parentheses, okay? And I'm just going to copy this, right? And I'm going to do less than L2, okay? And enter. And now I have, this is great. Now I have the ability to see everything. And actually, if I go 160 again, that should be fine. 160, 160. Oh, there we go. 160. Now all of the header columns go away, and then you can really populate this, and you're not duplicating. So now you have a list of your contract details. Okay. I'm just going to move this down. Right. That's fine. Now, for your case, if you wanted to do this live, all you would have to do is equal today. You could type it in, or you could write the today formula and equals that -7, whatever is helpful for you, or just type it in on your report, whatever works easiest. Okay, so this is pretty good. So now I'm going to slow down for a second. What we've done is we've chosen our columns that are relevant. We have filtered and sorted to the dates that are relevant, and then we have filtered to the week. Okay, so this is perfect. This is exactly what our boss wants. Actually, I'm going to move this back up to the top. This is exactly what our boss wants, and it's everything. Yeah, it's perfect. Exactly what they want. So the next thing that they want, though, is, I'll pause here. Any questions? So we did the filter. There's multiple criteria with the multiplication sign. You got choose columns. You got filter. Yeah, this is really good. Any questions? Great. So the next thing we're going to do is spend by week. Okay. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. But we're gonna do this. So we do 1/1/2024. That's fine, and then we're gonna equals that plus 7. Okay, and let me check what the Monday is, because that'll be better. Yeah, January 1st is a Monday, perfect. So then I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna drag it down 52 spaces. Yeah, perfect, there we go. 53 weeks, but the last week is 12/30, so I'll delete that. Okay, so this is week starting, okay, and then this is spend, okay, and this is pretty good, okay. So then all we're gonna do is we're gonna equal sum ifs, okay, and we're gonna do sum ifs on the 2022 tab, and we're gonna do total amount, comma, where PO date is greater than, and go back to this week, and it's greater than Q3. I'm going to do greater than or equal to, okay? And then the other thing we want, I'm gonna copy all of this again, and because we want to do the same criteria where the date is less than and that date, okay? Let's see. F. All right, so I got the sum range, we got criteria range. Oh, there it is. There we go. Yeah, I just wanted the 2022HH. So also, where that column is less than the next week. Shoot, what did I do wrong? Okay, is that right? No. Okay, so I gotta erase these. Sorry. You can go to the tab. All right, I'm gonna erase this again. Sum ifs, and then we're on Q3 and Q4. So I want the sum of the total amount where the PO date is greater than or equal to in Q3, and then the PO date is less than Q4. Okay, and that's this. Now, if you double click this all the way down, it doesn't show up, which is really helpful because then you can troubleshoot. Oh, I know why. 22. Okay, so this is really good. And January 1st is on a Saturday, so I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna go 1-3. So week starting 1-3, this is good. And now you have your total spend by week. Okay, and in theory, you wouldn't necessarily have the entire year, but then what you can do is you're gonna click insert and then chart. You're gonna do a chart here, and you can pick whichever one you want. I like this one. I think this is pretty good. And then you can kind of see a week over week spend. Okay, that's pretty good. So you can see this nice chart. This is great. And you can do all sorts of other things there to kind of help. But this is like a decent start to a dashboard. And then all you would do is each week you would come here and click Control A and delete. And then you download from your ERP, go to A1 and click paste, right? And you can paste it for the entire year, whatever you want to do. Okay, we'll pause for a second. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me just recap what we've done. To me, you have now automated an ERP report, and there's a few other things we're going to do to kind of make this better. But first thing we did is we chose our columns. Well, first thing we did is to find our requirements. This is great, perfect. That's what we need. Second thing we did was we chose columns. We grabbed our transactions. We grabbed the specific columns we wanted, and nobody else. So that's great. That eliminates the columns we don't need to see. Okay. Then we eliminated the rows that we don't need to see. And we sorted by our PO date, which is great. And it's not necessarily required, but it's nice on the aesthetic. Greater than, filter, this is good. And then the last thing, this is this week's report. Now you can hard code these values or do all other things on the date, but we used the filter function to define the specific duration of time that we want, and then we created a weekly spend snapshot for that. So it's okay. So we have now automated an ERP report. So there's a couple things that could break that we're going to fix right now. The first thing that could break is this V5291. We don't know what the last row is going to be, especially if you delete this and add it again. Okay. So it's important to have a dynamic last row. Okay. There's a couple ways to do that. But we're going to create a last row here. Excuse me. Sorry, that was a sneeze. We're going to create a last row here, and there's a couple ways to do it. Just one in my mind is count A, and you're just going to find a column that is guaranteed to have a value in it. Okay, and for us it's PO date, right? As long as there's a PO date, that's fine. So 5291, perfect. That's great. I believe there's other ways to do it, but for our purposes today, this is fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a string that says this. Okay, and so we're going to do a concatenate, and the concatenate formula is single quote, transactions, exclamation point, single quote, A1 colon, and then V, and then this is where you close the double quote, okay, and you're gonna do a comma, and you're gonna reference O2, okay, your enter. So now you have, if you look at this here, transactions, exclamation point, A1 through V5291, we don't need those single quotes, so I'm gonna delete them. Transactions, A1, V5291, and then the column. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace this with what is the indirect formula. I love the indirect formula. It is the greatest thing because you can indirect that and close parentheses there, and it still works. So what the indirect formula does is it references something else, okay? So if I do O2 here, I type the text O2 and I do indirect there, I get 5291, right? And if I change that to I1, this now says vendor name, okay? So the indirect formula returns the value of the cell or range that you are referencing. Super powerful formula because then it allows you to create a dynamic thing. So if you just notice 5291, I'm going to come to our transactions and I'm going to copy this, right? And I'm just going to paste a few more values, right? So now it's 5298. So, but when I go back, 5298 is now the last row, which is phenomenal. Now you don't have to, now you can have a variable last row for your reports, all in formulas, which is great. Okay, so that's really powerful, and is something that could definitely break the system. So then we're going to say range. The other thing is that we could run into a situation where the columns shift, okay? And so we want to guarantee these specific 9 columns, okay? We want these 9 columns and nothing else, but they could shift because people are changing this report all the time, okay? So we're gonna highlight these, okay? We're gonna copy, come here, and we're gonna paste special, and we're gonna transpose, okay? So we're gonna transpose here, and then we're also going to paste values. Well, that was a bummer. Paste values, then copy again, paste, transpose. So paste the values and transpose, that's fine. And now you have the list of the column headers. Now, in our scenario, we're going to pretend that, again, the column headers can change the column they're in, but the label doesn't change, okay? Or if it does, you can now change this one thing and it'll reference. So instead of referencing 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 4, what we're going to do is we're going to find the column number that this is in. So we're going to do match, okay? This is a great use case for the formula match, okay? So we're going to match, we're going to do part number, and what's the array that we're looking up? We're looking up the transactions tab, and we're going row 1. What column is this value in row 1? So enter, and this is in column 21. That's strange. I'm going to click all the way down. That is very strange. You know what it is? Match type is exact match. Okay, that's an very important piece of the puzzle. It needs to be an exact match. So there we go. Now we get the 1. So now we're going to drag that down, and if you notice, we have the transactions keeps changing from row 1 to row whatever. So we're going to click F4, which fixes the row number, and then we're going to double click it down again. Perfect. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14. 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14. Perfect. So we know that we want these exact columns in this order. So I'm going to replace all of these with that, and then that. And it'll take a little bit of time, but now we can guarantee that this will never change, which is great. We will always have these columns. People are changing columns all the time in the report, and no matter how many times you tell them to not change the columns, they do anyway. And now we have that. Or perhaps you paste it in the wrong place, and this will not change the impact of that. So now, instead of hard coding, we now have this. So let's just pretend that I add a new column here and I say test, right? This is a new value, and I double click this all the way down, right, as fake data. But now when I come here, the 1 and the 2 stay the same, but everything else has now shifted 1 column to the right, but this has not impacted our report. So this is now a functioning and variable way of, we'll just say, column format, right? That's all we're doing in this. All we're doing is we're taking our transactions, we're formatting it into the column order that we want. And then in 2022, we filter it to a specific date, and this is perfect. We're just gonna, because column H doesn't change because we've fixed that. We don't have to change that. And then this week is, yeah, those were the 2 things that could break, right? I take a step back, take a breath. These are the 2 things that could break, is it has a different number of rows and the columns are different. Now again, if you open this up, now if you Control Delete and then paste your new thing in there, I'm going to undo, it will now be in this order, and it still works. Let's say that, you know, someone gets rid of this underscore. In your analysis, it's not like you're going to come to this week and be like, what the heck? Like, what's happening? So then you go back here. That doesn't work. Oh, look at this. Part numbers, right? This is not matching anymore. And so you say, okay, they got rid of the space, so now I put the space. I'll get rid of the underscore as well. Okay, so you now have a perfectly functioning automated ERP report. In this week, you can do all sorts of conditional formatting, which is in the other video. You can do additional charts. You can do additional things. You can tweak the time range. You can use today rather than a hard-coded date. Whatever you want to do is totally fine. And this is a great way for you to start automating your ERP reports in Excel. Now, if you're ready to go to the next level and automate them in Power BI, Tableau, some other visualization tool, I'd love to talk, have another conversation. But for now, this is your Excel training. Thanks, guys.